So, the Michael Jackson movie. Let's talk about it. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am Amanda, and this is my channel where I review movies and books and shows and the like. And today we are going to be talking about the Michael movie, which is about Michael Jackson. So this movie stars Jafar Jackson, which is actually Michael Jackson's nephew, and he plays Michael Jackson in the movie. So I'm just gonna jump right on into my thoughts about this movie. So I will say that when I knew that this was coming out, I won't say I was like necessarily like over the moon excited, but I was definitely excited, I guess, about it because I do love Michael Jackson. I love his music and he's extremely talented. I don't think anyone can argue that. Um, there, of course, were other movies about Michael Jackson and his life prior to this. We have The Jacksons, The American Dream, which I know his family doesn't really like. Then, of course, you have the Michael Jackson Broadway, which I wouldn't necessarily say is a biopic of his life, but I think that musical is phenomenal and I suggest it to anyone who is a Michael Jackson fan. It's an amazing show. Then, of course, you have the movie with starring Flex Alexander as Michael Jackson, which we will not be speaking about. Like, that movie was terrible. Um, so, that being said, I would not say that this was necessarily a biopic either. I don't know if it was supposed to be, but it was supposed to be a movie about Michael, hence the name Michael. And I feel like the aim that this movie took was pretty much okay, Michael under the not umbrella, but Michael trying to get out from under his father's stiff arm, you know, him as a child and, you know, his father's influence, and then him being afraid of his father still, as throughout the movie, he continuously asks other people to speak to his father for him. And then, you know, finally, at the end of his movie, addressing that, you know, he's a father, finally come out from under his father's arm to live his own life, as he's been alluding to throughout the entire movie. I feel like this movie kind of missed the mark. Um, I don't feel like it really delves, it doesn't really delve into any particular storyline. It jumps from him being a child at 10 to 11 years old, presumably, I guess, all the way up to him being in his 20s. We see nothing of him as teenage Michael Jackson, which I know they spent about 30 minutes of that portion of his life with the Jackson Five, and I know that was a very important portion. However, I just find it odd to skip like an entire like 10 plus years. I thought that was very strange. I don't really feel like it does the movie a service, because if this is a movie about Michael, I would expect to know more about his life. I feel like this was kind of like a musical slash let's throw in some little storyline here. They have the overarching theme again with the father, but it's like let's throw in a little bit of this and that here. I don't really feel like they touched much on anything. And I left the theater kind of dissatisfied. I was not satisfied with the ending. They ended on the song Bad. And I I don't know, like I looked up after the movie if there's going to be a sequel, if they're planning on having a sequel, and it says that they're considering it. But you know, who knows? But then again, it's like this will be about his life from the 2000s up until he died, and I feel like that is a movie that I don't really feel like much people want necessarily. But also I don't feel like they'll have that much information. I Everything that I've seen that covers Michael Jackson always ends at this particular point. in his life, and it doesn't go past that. And I feel like that's because, not really because it's negative per se, but I feel like nobody really has the true information, the true backstory. I feel like Michael was always private, and then I feel like, past a certain point, he got even more private. We know all the things that people allegedly speak about, but we're not going to go into that in this video. But yeah, I just feel like there's not much known, and it's like if they were to do a sequel, what would that movie even cover? Um, yeah, overall, I just feel like I was just sorely disappointed. I won't say that I didn't enjoy the movie per se, because I do think that they did a wonderful job in including a lot of the songs. But then again, that's also why I kind of felt like it leaned more towards a musical that had to choose some type of story. And so they went with the one they went with. I feel like there wasn't much of his relationship shown with his brothers. They did show his relationship with his mother, which I thought was sweet. Um, yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of context for anything. It was pretty much, him trying to push out his music, with his management, and to get his music out there and get more famous and get more popular. It didn't really cover much of anything else, again, aside from the father storyline. But yeah, so things I did like, again, I did like the music. I thought they did a great job with the music. I did look it up. It does say that most of the vocals, if not all of the vocals, were Michael's vocals, and Jafar Jackson was pretty much lip syncing, but he was performing for 90 something, or if not all of the movie. Like, he was the one dancing and stuff. And I will say that I do think Jafar Jackson's acting and his dancing were great. I wasn't disappointed. I think he did a phenomenal job. Um, I forget the actor's name, but the actor who plays Joe Jackson also did a great job in that role, because I couldn't stand him. And I think that is a testament to his acting skill, especially in this movie, because I could not stand him. Every time came on screen, every line he delivered was like, yo, really, sir? Like, I was thoroughly annoyed by him. So I think he did wonderfully. I also really liked the actor who played his bodyguard, Bill Bray. I looked him up. He did pass away in 2005, I believe. But I stand Bill Bray. He was an amazing character. I like that they involved him so much in the movie. I don't know if that is actually the extent to which he was involved in Michael Jackson's life, but I did like it for the movie. Yeah, I guess final thoughts. Things that I found strange, like, again, there's stuff that I made sure to look up before I'm making comments. I did find it interesting that they decided to include LaToya Jackson in the movie so much. But that was a little weird, because I know in later years, she did have quite a bit to say about Michael that wasn't very positive. It did say that they were quite close when they were younger, and then they became more distant. I also found it interesting that they didn't include a actor for Janet Jackson at all. Like, I know she was much younger, but there was a point where it's like, okay, you can include her in the movie now, because her and Michael are very close, but they didn't include her in the movie at all. So I found that to be an interesting take. I don't really know or understand why they would have chosen to do that at all. And again, like I said before, the relationship with his brothers, I mean, I know was strained due to his fame, more than likely. But I just wish that they would have tried to show their relationship a bit more, at least what it was like, even if it wasn't like the best. I don't know. I just feel like I don't really know what this movie was supposed to be. at the end of it all? Was it supposed to be a biopic? Was it supposed to be a musical? Was it just supposed to show his relationship sort of with his dad and him trying to break out more into the music industry and break out from under his father and from under the Jackson's name? I don't really know what this movie was supposed to be. I feel like, people are excited because it's Michael Jackson. Obviously, like this movie is like so popular, like it's sold out in a lot of theaters since last week. But I feel like there are quite a bit of people who are going to go into this movie and be quite disappointed, just because I feel like the movie itself doesn't know what it wants to be. I feel like if this was marketed as a musical and then it was that, I think that would be satisfying. I feel like if it's marketed as a biopic and then it was that, I feel like it would be satisfying. I don't feel like this is neither. I don't really understand where this movie is supposed to sit. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Michael movie. Let me know down in the comments below if you have seen this movie, what you think about it. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this. Bye.